Okay, so last February, this silly looking mail truck totally took over my internet. Well, it turns out while I was busy giggling at all the memes, the United States Postal Service was putting together a plan to buy about 150,000 of these things that only get 8.6 miles per gallon. Despite the fact that the design can be made electric just as easily as combustion. Like, it was literally designed to do both, and the USPS said, yeah, let's mostly just get the ones that guzzle gas to the tune of 110 million gallons a year, dump tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and pollutes our neighborhoods. But postal trucks are perfect for electrification, and I'm not the only one who thinks so.
If you ever were to find a place where electrification of vehicles is prime, it's the postal truck. They're relatively small. They go relatively short distances each day. The average one goes about 20 miles, and it's a lot of start and stop. This is the type of fleet that we should be getting to zero emissions.
That's Adrian Martinez, a lawyer for Earthjustice who, get this, helped sue the USPS because their reasoning for buying combustion engines over electric was nonsense.
The original analysis was just very sloppy. It was essentially designed to make gas-guzzling trucks look very attractive and electric trucks look bad. They had a totally absurd predictions on what fuel would cost out to 2040.
Totally absurd is maybe putting it lightly. For starters, the USPS estimated these new gas trucks would emit 311,739 metric tons of carbon dioxide a year. But the EPA was like, no, that's way off. We're thinking those trucks will emit 975,534 metric tons a year. And yeah, those are both very specific numbers. I question their use of significant figures, and they're both just using different models and copy-pasting what it spits out. But the USPS was trying to get away with pretending like these trucks, which will likely get on average less than 10 miles a gallon, would emit 3 times less than the EPA says they will. And that's not all. The USPS estimated that gas would cost just $2.19 in 2020 and only creep up to $2.55 a gallon by 2040. For additional context, gas has only been as cheap as their 2040 estimate on an annual basis 4 out of the last 10 years. I don't know, seems like a pretty volatile market. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to rely on that? So what's really going on here?
This is a very simple story. Trump's postmaster general was going to buy a ton of gas-guzzling trucks that were going to be in our neighborhoods for decades to come when there are electric alternatives.
So not only did Earthjustice file a lawsuit on behalf of Clean Air Now, Center for Biological Diversity, and the Sierra Club, but the NRDC teamed up with the United Auto Workers to file a lawsuit, and a bunch of states and cities joined the fight too.
You know, a lot of times when people talk about electric vehicles, they think about the luxury cars going down the street, and they forget that there's a whole bunch of vehicles like postal trucks that will have benefits to virtually every neighborhood in the country that we should be electrifying. This is our fleet. This is the fleet that delivers our mail, and we needed to get loud, and we did, to tell the Postal Service, you need to do right by us. This is our institution. It's written into the Constitution. This is for us. And we don't want a bunch of polluting, gas-guzzling trucks.
And with mounting public pressure, more than 160,000 public comments were submitted by Earthjustice supporters alone. The USPS announced last July that 40% of the trucks they're buying would be electric. But it doesn't stop there. 40% is great and all, but the USPS has a lot of mail trucks. They make up about a third of the entire federal government's vehicles. And it's going to be expensive to electrify all of them. But more good news. With the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, the USPS got $3 billion specifically earmarked for the electrification of the fleet. And they've announced that after 2026, we're only buying electric mail trucks.
We expect the NGDVs to require in 2026, 2027, and 2028 to be 100% electric, John. 100%.
These announcements rule, but they're just announcements. The original record of decision that only plans for 10% of the new USPS trucks to be electric is still on the books, which is why Earthjustice is still fighting.
We still have a lot more work to do to make sure the money is well spent and that it really goes towards advancing electrification. We're hoping to convince them to purchase even more electric vehicles than what they've previously said. And so we'll weigh in, we'll let them know that we're monitoring, we're listening, we'll look at their analysis, make sure it's correct, work with experts and our partners, and then file comments and weigh in that way.
And turning regular mail into email, get it? Because these are electric mail trucks? No? Okay. Well, pushing the USPS to electrify their fleet is just one part of Earthjustice's Right to Zero campaign, which is kind of what it says on the tin. We have a right to live in a world with zero emissions and all the climate, environmental, and health benefits that go hand in hand with that.
And one of the big places we want to focus is transportation, because in a place like California, but also in many parts of the country, it is responsible for a large portion of our emissions. And we spent quite a bit of time trying to convert diesel and methane burning buses to electric. And we've had a lot of success. One of our very early campaigns in Right to Zero was getting the Los Angeles region to electrify its fleet, which led to a statewide California regulation. And I think that's a really exciting effort. That's a nice companion to our mail delivery trucks going electric. These are our fleets. These are public resources, your transit agency, buses, the mail truck. And we're really trying to make sure that our fleets are going electric first and providing benefits to everyone.
I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty good to me. If we want to reduce our emissions, we need to start electrifying everything, and fast. And Earth Justice is helping us get there. Now, if you're new around here, you may not know that I make a video standing for Earth Justice every year as part of the Project for Awesome. But I do, and this is that. Because I really believe in the work Earth Justice does to use the power of law and policy to push for electric mail trucks and buses, ending oil and gas leases, protecting our water, and countless other deeply necessary projects. Now here's where you come in. For starters, Earth Justice is still rallying support to get those electric mail truck promises made real, and you can head to earthjustice.org to learn more about that. But the best part of the Project for Awesome is that if you think Earth Justice is cool too, you can head to projectforawesome.com and vote for Earth Justice, so that a portion of the funds raised can go to giving the Earth a good lawyer. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Vote for Earth Justice, right down there. See where my paw's pointing? That's where you want to vote. I promise. It's a great idea. Vote for Earth Justice.